Greetings, entities and guardians, my name is HyperHimes, and welcome back to Dragons Committing Arson Simulator. Yeah, I'm not joking about that either. Honestly, there's not much that I can actually say to start this, primarily because this is the first time that we're dealing with an immediate part 2 to an update we recently just talked about. I mean, sure, technically we had a part 2 to updates, but they were either in the form of 2 updates split between one another, or the updates were separated many months apart. This time, however, we are dealing with a part 2 update, which is full length, meaning that it will last for about a whole month, just like the last update. Apparently when I want to kick you around to talk about the dragons again, because they haven't done it in so long, I didn't realize it would be this frantic. Now, if you're new here, then let me give you the rundown as to what happens here. The Kick Around OvenBreak YouTube channel recently released a trailer for the newest Kick Around OvenBreak update, and if you're new here, then what we usually do is that we describe the teaser and what happens inside of it, analyze the teaser for any sort of detail, and lastly, try to predict with the help of this teaser what the new update could provide to us. Now, there is one thing that I do need to bring up because it's pretty important to these videos. These videos are meant to be made for fun, and my predictions have a high likelihood of actually not appearing for the updates. I primarily just make these videos to not only hype myself up for the Kick Around OvenBreak update, but hopefully other people as well. Now, this is where we usually take a look at the new teaser right about now. However, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We're going to be doing a little bit of a quick story recap of the update so all of you can be caught up to date as to what's going on before predicting anything else. We need to know our facts anyway before we can start brainstorming. And don't worry, I'll try to be as decently quick as possible about the story recap. So Pitaya Dragon Cookie and Ananas Dragon Cookie would try to take on Longan Dragon Cookie, and then both of them would get absolutely decimated. Because of this, Pitaya Dragon Cookie and Ananas Dragon Cookie would go their separate ways. Pitaya Dragon Cookie would fly off to retreat so they could heal and soon take on Longan Dragon again, but Ananas Dragon instead placed their loyalty next to Longan Dragon, serving under them. Pitaya Dragon would then try to fight Longan Dragon again, but then would get stopped by both Ananas Dragon as well as Lychee Dragon because the little prick was always serving under Longan Dragon anyway. Pitaya Dragon Cookie had to flee once again, but Longan Dragon in the meantime changes the Pineapple Isle to prehistoric times filled with a bunch of dinosaurs, and it causes the Dragon's Valley to change too. Because of this, Pitaya Dragon Cookie ends up meeting 2 new cookies from an old tribe known as the Stock Tribe, which these cookies are Starch Noodle Cookie and Flat Tofu Cookie. The tribe helps Pitaya Dragon Cookie try to heal their wounds, they ally with Malice Sauce, and they even refuse a deal from Snakefruit Cookie. Pitaya Dragon would soon go to the peak of the Dragon's Valley, realizing that the flames there have simmered out and they can't become a true dragon. However, after having a match with Malice Sauce Cookie, Pitaya Dragon Cookie becomes a full dragon once more. Meanwhile, Ananas Dragon now has to cope with the fact that their island doesn't belong to them anymore, but it does seem more peaceful and more quiet for them, so maybe that's a good thing. However, Snakefruit Cookie visits Ananas to tell them about a plan involving teaming up with Lotus Dragon Cookie, who at this point has already mastered becoming a full dragon. While contemplating, Mango Cookie and a few other Mango friends travel through the new prehistoric island when they discover some sort of a rock that seems to injure one of them. Not only that, but the rock happens to be owned by Longan Dragon, who still seems to be watching over the island for some reason. Because of this, Ananas takes up a deal with Snakefruit Cookie on another offer, which is taking the residents from the Pineapple Isle over to where Lotus Dragon is so that they'll be all safe. This was actually perfect timing because right after, Pitaya would then confront Ananas once again, and the two would fight once again. However, with Pitaya's newfound strength, they are easily able to take down Ananas even in their dragon form. However, Longan Dragon seems to pop up at the very last moment, in which the story ends off on a cliffhanger, now leading us to the next update. Now moving on with what most likely happens after, we see some adorable looking dinosaurs and birds in the forest. However, we then see an eager Starch Noodle Cookie riding upon her cabbage pterosaur just like in the story we mentioned. She would quickly glide past and text would appear saying, "Come on, let's fly on the cabbage pterosaurs." However, that text would be engulfed in flames and it's revealed that the entire Pineapple Isle is on fire. This video would then end with the text, "Kick Around OvenBreak, Awaken, Return of the True Dragon. Grand reveals on May 26, 0500 PST and 2200 KST. I know it seems like this trailer didn't supply much for us, but that's also why I gave you the story recap so you can stay on page with me here. If it isn't obvious, we're getting Starch Noodle Cookie, but there's also a high likelihood that we're going to be receiving another cookie, however I'll talk about that later. What we should mention is the fact that the entirety of the island is burning to the ground. This definitely takes place after the Pitaya Dragon confronts Ananas Dragon, with Pitaya Dragon beating Ananas Dragon in the aftermath, but it's a really good thing that all the other cookies left because there would be no survivors at that point. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be many other details that I can talk about with its teaser other than, like, you know, the dinosaurs, but what else can I say? They're just adorable. So if the whole island is burning down and we're left knowing that we have a whole batch of cookies who ran away, a defeated Ananas, a triumphant Pitaya, and Longan Dragon watching over the whole thing, what could this possibly set up for the next update's story? Well, considering that the main cookie is Starch Noodle Cookie, I think the point of view of the story is going to take place and focus on the cookies who left the pineapple aisle, which includes Starch Noodle Cookie and a bunch of other ones, but also it's going to focus on cookies who are still at the Lotus Palace, so it probably involves Ginger Brave, Milk Cookie, Purple Yam, Bellflower, and probably some more. They're most likely going to tell everyone about the situation as to what's going on with the dragons, as well as report all the current events to Lotus Dragon Cookie. However, back with the other dragons, Pitaya may be strong in their full dragon form, but I doubt they could even hold a candle to the power of Longan Dragon alone, and considering that Ananas was defeated and Lychee Dragon is still against them, there's a high chance that a major punishment is in store for Pitaya Dragon for refusing to abide with Longan Dragon's orders. So two things are going to need to happen. First, Ananas Dragon Cookie needs to heal up to have their strength return to take down Longan Dragon, because clearly whatever happened before didn't work. The second thing is that Lotus Dragon needs to somehow step in to take down Longan Dragon, because there's no way that they could do it by themselves. Everyone needs to pitch in. There's even a small probability that Lychee Dragon could help, but something would need to happen to make Lychee Dragon not like working under Longan Dragon's control, which isn't impossible, but it still might be very difficult. All of the cookies are stuck in some tight situations right now, but hopefully, as always, with the strength and motivation of working together, the groups will be able to get through anything. So let's talk about what the new cookies do. First off, Starch Noodle Cookie's skill would be pretty obvious. Occasionally, Starch Noodle Cookie will ride upon her cabbage pterosaur through the air, collecting lines of jellies. Also, of course, with her magic candy, some of the jellies collected will become more ancient, valuable ones, which can provide more points than before. Now, for a pet, I would assume a dinosaur of sorts, but I think it would make more sense to be a ramen bowl of sorts, which would occasionally spew out vegetable jellies that not only would provide points, but also replenish energy due to the tasty veggies that you'd be eating. Now, who would even be cut out to be the other cookie? Well, personally, I think it makes the most amount of sense that the other cookie that we met in the stock tribe would be the new playable one, and that's Flat Tofu Cookie. From what we know, they're more experienced in casting spells and magics, so I think they would occasionally perform some form of tofu magic, converting certain obstacles and jellies into tofu jellies over time through the trial, or whatever. With magic candy, though, after around 3 uses of their skill, a supercharged spell would activate, causing a whole explosion of tofu to blast everywhere for points. And for a pet? Simple. Just a block of tofu with a face on it. What does it do? Well, occasionally it would shred a ton of little tiny tofu jellies off of itself for points. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but this is tofu that we're talking about. It's not really meant to be exciting. Lastly, we're gonna have to talk about a new treasure as well, and I want to do something interesting for this one. For a prediction, I want it to legit be a bottle of dragon's fire, representing the fire that Pitaya Dragon Cookie breathes. Occasionally, the jar would open up, spewing a long stream of fire that would destroy obstacles in its way for points. Now, of course, we definitely need to talk about costumes, and I hope that we don't get too many because we have 2 legendary costumes already for Pitaya and Ananas that got released in the last update, okay? Game, calm down! But anyway, if it isn't obvious yet, Starch Noodle and Flat Tofu are most definitely going to be receiving costumes considering that they're the new cookies, so obviously they need some special treatment. Next, honestly, I'm hoping that Snakefruit gets a costume. I know a deceitful snake like Snakefruit shouldn't seem like they could get one, but they have been contacting Pitaya Dragon, Ananas Dragon, and Lotus Dragon, making them quite the important character for the story. For another prediction, I'm hoping that Bellflower and Ginseng also get some costumes, considering that they're at least important to the Lotus Dragon portion of the storyline, and I think those two deserve some more costumes, at least some costume that's specifically relevant to like ancient herbology or something. And for one last one, I think Mango Cookie deserves a costume. After all, they left their homeland and, well, there's a high chance that Mango Cookie won't be returning, so let's get this little pleb something nice to cheer him up. The last thing we'll talk about here are potential events that we'll most likely be seeing within the new update. Obviously, the new game mode is going to be a continuation of the previous game mode, just with a different name. It'll play out much like prior versions of the game modes where you just have to run through 5 stages, meet a few cookies, get a certain amount of missions done, and then you'll be able to progress the story. We obviously know that the Treasure Mastery and Meet the Treasure event is going to be coming back, but the Cookie Mastery event is also obviously going to come back, but it should be a lot more simple because the last time that they introduced this event was with both Ananas and Pitaya, and it was so much plumbing harder because they introduced the magic candies, and those missions were basically impossible to do unless if you were spending money. So hopefully in this new update they're gonna fix that. Speaking of the dragons, I hope that there's another Rainbow Cube relation event, much like the Bingo one we recently got, primarily because, as I mentioned before, the Pitaya Dragon Cookie and Ananas Dragon Cookie costumes came out, meaning that you will you have to be lucky and rich to get these awesome looking costumes, and it's going to be such a pain to get without some Rainbow Cubes. New daily gifts are going to be giving out, a new jelly set will be available for purchase, $10 pet costume, and you can't forget about the Rainbow Cube coupon code that's going to be revealed at the end of the update review video. Now, at the end of all all of these videos, I need to make sure that I state this. Be sure to complete any sort of event and make sure to spend anything that you have before the new update comes, because when it comes, they're gone for good. But anyways, what do you think about the things I've said in this video? Do you agree with some of them, or do you not agree? Be sure to tell me down in the comment section below, and not only that, but be sure to tell me down in the comment section below what you really want to see within the new update, and what you're excited to see already. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here, so if you enjoy the video, then please be sure to leave a like on it, and also share the video with your friends if you enjoy my kick around content, and if you enjoy my content in general, then why not subscribe, and also hit the bell icon to be notified of whatever I do in the future. Also, down below in the description, you'll see links to all of my social media, including a Twitter post where if it gets 10,000 likes, I'm going to kick around YouTube stuff for absolutely free, a link to my Discord server called the HyperHimes Hub, a link to my merchandise where you can buy stuff to represent the channel, and lastly, a link to my Ko-fi where for just $1 a month, you can see exclusive content that you wouldn't normally see in this normal YouTube channel. But above all else, I will see you entities and guardians in the next video. Hail the HyperHimes.